Well, hello. So there's been new developments, and I think it's pretty interesting. So let's get into it. I don't think it's gonna be a long video. Well, my videos are long, just less long than usual. So let's go to it. First off, we got the fires that continuing. We have one a criminal fire against a home in Ile des Sœurs. I think that's a rich place, people with money, things like that. 3 in the morning, as the usual. Obviously, the usual, no names, nothing. But we figured out that last time, at least we had proof, because there's just so many fires against homes, and you don't get names, you don't get nothing. But the last one, we learned that there was a bar in Plateau Mont Royal. They were shooting the place. Remember the front doors, and then we found out that they were after that even targeting the homes of managers. So that was linked to a bar. So that's a good clue for us. So a lot of these, when they're targeting someone's homes, it's going to be probably linked to those kinds of activities: extortion, intimidation. It's obvious because they're not killing somebody, they're trying to send that person a message. Hello, Chris. How are you doing, pal? So let's continue. The next one, again, another fire. This one against a home, again in Longueuil, and they threw an incendiary object in it. This is on an apartment building, 10th of May. And I think that's about all we got, and it's at 1:15 in the morning. The usual, it's in the morning, guys. Gagnon Alain. Oh, salut Gagnon. Ah, salut Gagnon. Salut Alain. Comment ça va, bro? Next one, rounds being let off in 7th Island, Sept-Îles. Remember, I talked to you about the North Coast Corridor. There's the battles going on there, and for our lingo, our own purposes, we call 7th Island the capital of the North Coast Corridor. So it's fitting that every other episode, such as the previous one, there's news stories, gang wars going on in 7th Island. So it's contested for sure. Here you have more messages being let off, but it doesn't say if it's against a building or not, or a home, or is it against a person. Well, it says nobody was injured. This time happened at midnight and a half from Sunday to Monday. No, that's it. That's all we get. But we had a previous news story about this. Someone got off. Well, almost off on the 28th of April, but he did not survive. Remember last episode, man? That's the one. There's another one. Continues, more rounds being let off. It's I don't want to read them word per word, but when I'm scanning this document, it says nobody was arrested, but I don't really see it saying it's hit a building or something like that. Maybe it's just people heard the rounds and they may have found the shells, but they're not talking about hitting a home or something. And they said no one was injured. So I guess we can leave it at that. What's up, Zachary Mitchell? Next one. Okay, now we're going into the meat of the stories, guys. The main attraction, the main reasons you've been coming here. Remember last episode we found out that Hells Angels, one of the, I guess, people of influence in the red zone, who are at head to head with the BFM. They're going at war with them. They've been at war. By the way, the leader's been captured about 2 months ago, Ice Pick Turmel. But the action continues in that area despite that. But there hasn't been that many more action. But there has been one of significance. They targeted the home of Mathieu Pelletier, a Hells Angel, one of the young ones in the roster. But he's a Hells Angel. His father was a Hells Angel, I guess a legendary figure, one of the founders, I believe, if at the very least, of that chapter. So we heard about his home being targeted the other day. Remember? Well, I'm getting new news here. It says Stoneham and Tewkesbury, a biker targeted for the second time by rounds. Now, last article they mentioned the second time, but they did not say it was him, and they did not say it was the same home. In fact, they clearly distinguished it. They said that street, there was another similar incident, so it wasn't the same home. Here I'm reading it saying that bikers targeted for the second time by fire. So I'm saying, what I'm trying to tell you is, I guess since you and I spoke about it just a few days ago, it's happened again. A house belonging to Mathieu Pelletier, a member of the Hells Angels, targeted Thursday and Friday. So there you have it, guys. Wow. So probably by the time I covered it, that same night it happened again. So it happened on the 8th of May, and that's the one we talked about. And apparently the next day it happened again. They came back again. The audacity of all this. The audacity. Really audacious. Let's see what they're going to tell us. I'm just going to put this lower because I know I don't have the same volume level as you. My apologies. I don't even hear anything. Let me just... It's going from the wrong speaker. Okay, now I should be able to translate.
Deuxième journée de suite, des projectiles ont été tirés sur la résidence d'un membre en règle des Hells Angels.
For the second day in a row, a home of a full patch Hells Angel was targeted.
Marie-Pierre, donc le plus récent événement s'est déroulé hier soir près de Québec.
So the recent one was last night. So this, I guess they're talking... This is a Saturday report.
Voilà, Marie-Ève, ça s'est passé vers 20h30, donc des citoyens autour
So it happened at about, it says, 10:30 p.m.
de la résidence qui ont entendu des coups de feu. Et là, vous le voyez,
And the neighbors heard the rounds.
là, ce midi, il y a toujours le périmètre en place avec les enquêteurs des crimes majeurs et
So as you see, the perimeter is already blocked, still blocked by the investigators.
les techniciens de l'identité judiciaire aussi, qui sont sur le site pour faire la lumière sur
And there's technicians making light or investigating
cet événement.
on
Dans
this
la nuit de
event.
mercredi à jeudi, au moins un coup de feu a été tiré sur la même demeure et on
And the night of Wednesday to Thursday, at least one round was hit that house.
ne connaît pas à l'heure actuelle les motifs dus ou des tireurs.
We do not know the motives of the sprayers.
Selon nos informations, en mars 2023, cette
According to our information, in March of 2023.
même propriété avait aussi été visée par des balles.
Oh, really? I think she said that this property was targeted at that time. So I don't know. Maybe the previous report when they said it was on the same street. Maybe they had it wrong when they didn't figure out properly. But now we're finding out that this property, at the very least, I guess it's not the second time, guys. It's the third. So whoever did the the first one, the chances are he's the one who ordered the second that last week and the third one.
Et il s'agit de la résidence de Mathieu Pelletier, un membre en règle des Hells Angels.
A member of the Hells Angels owns that home.
Selon nos informations, c'est le fils d'un des fondateurs du chapitre de Québec.
He's the son of the founder of the Quebec chapter, who is a Hells Angel.
Il était l'ancien fournisseur de stupéfiants du chef du Blood Family Mafia.
And they are the original suppliers of the BFM gang,
Dave Picturmel,
who is led by Dave Picturmel,
qui a été arrêté en Italie.
who was arrested in
Et
Italy.
c'est un conflit entre les deux hommes qui serait à l'origine de la guerre qui oppose les deux groupes depuis plus de 2 ans.
And the origin of this war would be between Mathieu Pelletier and Ice Picturmel. That's where it all started.
Selon le bureau d'enquête. Et j'ai rencontré tout à l'heure une porte-parole de la Sûreté du Québec. On peut l'entendre.
So they're going to talk to the a spokesperson of the Quebec Police. You know how this usually goes. They don't give you any information. I'm just going to give them a chance.
Il est un peu tôt. Ce que je pourrais vous dire par
They're going to dance around the subject. It's a little bit early to say.
contre, peut-être pour rassurer la population, là, c'est que la résidence ciblée semble être vraiment un événement isolé.
But it's really nothing to worry about. It's an isolated event targeting this residence only.
Donc, il ne semble pas y avoir d'autres résidences dans le même secteur qui auraient été ciblées.
And no other home in the area was targeted. It was only this one.
Et c'est l'enquête, finalement, qui déterminera s'il y a
And it's the investigation that will determine finally
ou non un lien là, avec le crime organisé.
if there's a link or not with organized crime. Yeah, you don't need an investigation to figure that one.
Et Marie-Pierre, on s'attend à ce que ça bouge dans le monde du crime organisé dans les prochaines semaines.
Hey, Marie-Pierre, so after this, we are expecting there's going to be a lot of follow-up events to this one, right?
Selon l'ex-enquêteur Roger Ferland, ce n'est pas exclu qu'il y ait une riposte au cours des prochains jours.
And according to ex-investigator of the SQ, Roger Ferland, Remember that guy who usually interview, the guy who's bald with the goatee, and he's a dancer of words. Remember, I have a hard time translating him because he never is direct. He says he's giving his expert advice, and he's saying the obvious. There's going to be reprisals for this.
Prochaine semaine,
In the
selon
following
lui,
weeks.
c'est comme si c'était un message finalement qui avait été envoyé à Mathieu Pelletier.
Because it's as if there was a message that was being sent to Mathieu Pelletier 2 days in a row, targeting his home. Hell yeah. No pun intended.
Et on peut l'entendre.
C'est pas exclu que ça réarrive, mais c'est pas exclu non plus qu'il va y avoir, à mes yeux, d'importantes ripostes.
Huh? Okay, he's saying it's not excluding. It's, you can't exclude that there's not going to be something that happens after this, but you can't exclude that there will be something that will happen after this. You see what I was saying, boys?
De la part ou de son équipe ou de la part de l'équipe qui l'attaque en ce moment.
Or those happening from either the perpetrators or the Hells Angels themselves. The actions, the follow-up events that could happen.
Puis ce que ça laisse sur place de la violence encore urbaine, gratuite, qui va se dérouler dans nos rues.
So what that leaves is that there's going to be, open violence that will happen on our streets.
Parce que M. Pelletier contrôle également beaucoup d'autres commerces. Il contrôle des commerces...
Because Mr. Pelletier, he controls different kinds of businesses, not just stupifier trafficking. Probably talk about legal businesses. He owns other properties, legitimate businesses, and they could be targeted. That's what I think he's saying.
Légal. Pensons à des commerces, des barbershops ou d'autres commerces.
There you go. So he's saying, let's think about barbershops and things like that.
Alors, est-ce que c'est des gens qui sont tannés à un moment donné de fournir des pourcentages?
Are these people who are doing this that are tired of paying the tax to the Hells Angels?
La question est complexe
The question is complex.
en ce moment. Mais c'est clair que le milieu illégal amène ces problèmes-là et il y a assurément des risques.
But it's clear that the illegal... the illegal milieu, I don't know how to translate that for you, man. The illegal environment brings its own problems.
Merci, Marie-Pierre.
Je vous en prie.
Wow, how insightful. See if I can scan. Remember, sometimes actually, we scan, we find something they didn't say in the video. So far, no good. No suspects, got it. At the source of the conflict, the owner is Mathieu Pelletier. It is the son of Marc Tom Pelletier, the father, who's a Hells Angel, the founder of the Quebec chapter, one of them, sorry. Mathieu Pelletier, the son, was the ex-supplier of stupifiers for Dave Pic-Turmel, chief of the BFM gang, before there was a conflict that exploded between these two men. I guess that's a picture of him. Yes, it is. Mathieu Pelletier right there on his motorcycle. Smart to block his face like that, That's a smart man, going out, not trying to... He's just trying to ride his motorcycle, basically. He's not trying to be John Gotti here. He doesn't want to be known. Doesn't want his photos anywhere. He just wants to be quiet. But here you go. Here's a picture. Too bad you can't see what he looks like. So he must be doing something right. So the conflict between them is... between the two gangs at the origin is because of these two men, it's saying. Oh, look, we're getting some good details here, I believe. So the underlings of Mathieu Pelletier would have beaten up one of their ex-stupifier sellers, one of their dealers, who switched sides and joined the BFM. A couple of weeks before, his chalet in Saint-Malachie was reduced to rubbles. I do remember this one. Do you remember we talked about there was a chalet? We never spoke about it a lot. There was no more details than that. There was a chalet in the middle of nowhere, and it was set on fire, and all we heard about was that they believed that it was an underling of the BFM that was targeted, and that was his chalet. They're talking about that event. So, look, we're getting clear, direct information that it's the underlings of Mathieu Pelletier that would have beat up one of their ex-stupifier dealers who joined the BFM pipeline. And then a couple of weeks before or after, they burned his chalet, too. In October. So they're saying this October. All right. Deja vu. In March of 2023... They heard 6 rounds clearly, and it was very intense in the neighborhood, or at that home. Yeah, no, the home, near the home, I guess. All right, that's it. Let's go to the next. This one's a little bit more explosive, guys. This one is the unbelievable part. 3 officers suspended in Candiac. Let's see what they tell us. I promise you this one's going to be interesting.
Encore de police.
Sorry, I'm going to, because I know you don't have the same volume as me. It might hurt your ears. Let me just reduce this.
Police de la Rive-Sud est plongée dans une crise. 3 agents de...
Now, the police of the South Shore. Now, I'm not sure which South Shore they're talking about. Are they talking about the South Shore of Montreal? I doubt it, because that would be police of Longueuil or something on this car. So I'm thinking when they're saying the South Shore, they're talking about the greater Quebec area. So, if you will, the red zone. Let's see. So 3 police officers would have sold stupifiers for bikers. Police working for bikers.
La Régie intermunicipale de police Roussillon, qui est basée à Candiac.
Oh, no, it is the South Shore of Montreal. My bad. Okay, that's good. So I guess there's multiple towns. It's not just Longueuil. This is police of Roussillon, right, on the vehicle. There you go, guys. So in the Montreal area, you got cops dealing for the Hells Angels, man.
Aurait vendu de la drogue pour le compte de motards. Pascal Robida, on vous retrouve à Candiac. Les 3 agents qui sont maintenant suspendus, là.
3 agents were suspended for selling stupifiers.
Oui, et qui font l'objet d'une enquête criminelle parce que, vous l'avez dit, les allégations qui pèsent contre eux sont extrêmement graves. Elles touchent le cœur même de la mission des policiers, c'est-à-dire combattre le crime. On les soupçonne d'avoir non seulement été impliqués dans une affaire de trafic de stupéfiants.
We not only suspect them of having been involved in the trafficking of stupifiers,
mais de l'avoir fait pour le compte de motards criminalisés, imaginez.
but having done that for the account of criminalized bikers. Imagine that.
Alors, pour le directeur du service de la police de la Régie intermunicipale de Roussillon, on peut dire que c'est l'un des dossiers les plus cauchemardesques qu'un directeur peut avoir à gérer
So this is the nightmare scenario for police bodies.
actuellement. Il faut dire que ce ne sont pas 1, mais 3 policiers qui sont impliqués dans cette affaire.
And the fact that it's not only one lone wolf that was implicated in this, it was 3 of them.
Qui est menée par la Sûreté du Québec de façon indépendante pour faire la lumière. Et l'objectif, parce qu'il y a des rencontres depuis déjà 3 jours, c'est de préparer un dossier en vue de déposer des accusations auprès du bureau du directeur aux poursuites criminelles et pénales.
They're about to, it's just saying, they're legalese, they're gonna, put accusations against them soon. They're putting it all together.
Parler de la situation avec le directeur, entre autres, de la Régie intermunicipale de Roussillon, qui, lui, affirme qu'il a fait son devoir dès que possible et que sa population qu'il dessert, on parle de 6 municipalités, peut toujours avoir confiance en son corps policier.
It's just saying, the director says, don't worry about it, you can still trust us, this is an isolated event.
J'ai assumé mes responsabilités de directeur de police, mais je tiens à rassurer la population qu'elle peut compter sur des policiers professionnels, dévoués, engagés.
Yeah, you can count on us. Don't worry about it. Nothing new for us here.
Donc, ils n'ont pas à s'inquiéter.
Merci, Pascal.
All right. So I guess that's all we got for that news. Oh, wait, do we have more? Yeah, we got an article with more info. I'm hoping we can get out with something. So trafficking stupifiers on the South Shore. I'm having doubts here we're gonna get any new information. Yeah, there's nothing more to add on this. So 3 South Shore police infiltrated by the bikers. There you have it. If you ever needed proof, this isn't. Do you really think this is the first time this has ever happened? We're marking history all of a sudden on this May of 2025. All those rumors people have been saying the whole time that mafia and bikers have infiltrated. Do you think it just happened today? Probably not. Next one, a detainee 21 was beat in an altercation with another prisoner. Usually I don't care about this stuff. However, I'm interested in seeing if there's a link between the street gang wars on the street, and then we can extract some data that's going to be useful. So I'm looking at it. We got Sid Ahmed Moualek, 21 years old. According to our information, the police are suspecting a link between this attack that caused his death with a shooting that happened in a residential neighborhood in Anse-Cartierville on the same day. Now, I've been covering the news with you. I know something happened at Anse-Cartierville. Actually, I'm not even. There's been just too many for me to remember. But last episode, I just do not recall a shooting in Anse-Cartierville. Maybe a shooting to a residence. At best, that's what I would say. I could, if it happened, that's at best what I remember. If it was the case last episode, that would be at best that, or throwing a Molotov or something, a message to a home, but not a shooting as if it hit somebody, someone's in the hospital. Never. I do not recall last episode being that. So I don't have this this news information. Well, I don't think we've covered it if it's not that. But they're saying that there was a shooting. Okay, this could actually be... Okay, my bad. I'm misunderstanding something. No, I'm okay, gotcha. Now, wait. The 29th of April. So, it would not be last episode. It would have to be 2-3 weeks before that. So, let's put it in perspective. 2-3 weeks ago, there was some form of rounds being let off, okay, in Anse-Cartierville. But that same day that happened, they're saying Sid Ahmed Moualek got beat up in prison and now he's gone. So they're saying that both events are probably linked. So that interests me a lot, in fact. Tens of rounds were let off by a 16-year-old adolescent that was arrested by the police on the same day. So a 16-year-old went out on a mission. He let off 16 rounds. He got arrested. That same day, Sid got beat up in prison. Now they're saying that there was a home, a home breaking and entering inside of a home that happened a couple of hours after that shooting. Another episode of violence that the authorities believed would be linked to the death of Sid Ahmed Moualek. So it's 3 events. All right. Andrew Luberis. This name I won't forget. We've read about Andrew Luberis. I just cannot remember what the story is. Andrew Luberis, an influential member of gang, was killed in December of 2024 in his cell in RDP. Yes, that's the guy whose uncle, maybe a few weeks after that, or a month or 2 after that, his uncle got offed on the streets. I believe on the NDG neighborhood. I believe that's the guy that they're talking about. If you're with us, you remember that story. And that guy got offed. The guys who came to do the mission, they were BFMers that were called to come here in Montreal to execute this mission. That's as much as I remember for the uncle. But the nephew got killed in prison. But I don't know what. I guess they're just trying to say, oh, look, violent events in prison. It's not the first. A few weeks before or a few months before, we had Andrew Luberis, not related, but they're just bringing that up. They're just giving us a list of things that people got beat up in prison and died. That's what they're doing. Madi Hijazi, 32, was beaten to death in September in RDP prison. There's still no arrests in that case. A prisoner of the BFM, I remember who they're talking about, almost died last month in a bloody battle, they're saying. Even more troubling, this attempted offing was filmed inside of a prison. So it's not the first. I remember once a long time ago, I think one of you guys sent me a video. I think it was Vikings. I could be completely wrong. But it was a Quebec prison gang, and they beat up the dude inside of the prison cell, and they put his head inside of the toilet bowl. Remember that? Some guy sent me some cool, chill dude sent me this video, and I didn't think nothing of it. I posted on my channel, and I got a big warning from YouTube never to do that again. And I got my channel struck. Let's keep going. But this is a new, so just to tell you, they're saying that last month this happened again. A prisoner tied to the BFM was beat up, and they filmed the entire thing, is what they're saying. In the video viewed by La Presse, I guess they did not release it, but La Presse is this newspaper that's writing this article right now. They have the video, and they're saying that when they saw it, we see 2 men beat the detainee who's yelling in pain, asking, "What did I do wrong?" The floor of his cell was covered in red, obviously. Now, the two men who were beating him up were yelling the following slogan, I guess. 25e Avenue, Boulevard Robert. 25th Avenue, Robert Boulevard. They were yelling at him as they were beating him up, and he was asking, "What did I do?" And they're saying that the 25e Avenue, Boulevard Robert is a reference to a gang in Saint-Michel neighborhood. Saint-Michel neighborhood in Montreal. In the eastern, not eastern, complete eastern, but more on the eastern half of MTL, next to the Little Italy neighborhood. So that would be Gregory Woolley's neighborhood back a long time ago. His underlings back in the 90s. So who knows what this is about. Now, I guess we did cover this. Actually, the picture rings bells, but there's too many homes that look like that. But at the time, now we're going back. We're talking again about the man who was beat up in prison. They're saying that that same day was beat up. They let off rounds at her home, and they think cops believe the two events are linked. That's the event. The shooting that happened on that same day on the home. Just to come back to this. Arrested with a tool. The young man, Sid Ahmed Moualek, was arrested in November of 2021, so we go further than that, his rap sheet, for possession of a G19, I can't really say the name, a 9mm. He pled guilty of having that on board. And he also had another accusation for stealing a vehicle. On the night of the 14th of October 2021, after a shooting on Boulevard Gouin West, Gouin West is one of the longest streets in the city. It's extremely long. It goes from almost the western tip to the eastern tip. But this is, you see, it has west on it. So there's Gouin East, probably, and this is Gouin West. Gouin West, by the way, ironically, it would cross Antoine Berthelet, which was nicknamed Mafia Street. It's where Vito Rizzuto was born. Where he was living, with family members of his clan, you know. So his street is tiny. But that street intersects with Boulevard Gouin West. Just for lore, for you. So they're saying on the 14th of October of 2021, there was a shooting on Boulevard Gouin West, okay? The authorities found 3 shells, and they located where they hit. They hit a vehicle, it says, according to a document that court document of this newspaper, which they've read. The analysis of the surveillance cameras, allowed cops to identify Sid Ahmed Moualek and a minor accomplice a few minutes ago, I guess. They got cameras showing that they were headed to the scene before the crime happened. Well, this is 2021. So clearly, Mr. Sid Ahmed Moualek, there's a chance he's being called upon by some street gang on a mission here. And anyways, he fell in disfavor with his compadres, because now he got beat to death inside of the prison, guys. Now, we need to just find out someday, if they ever talk about this story again, which pipeline this belongs to. Now, I just want to click this. Oh, no, that's the previous article. Never mind. Has nothing to do with this one. Okay, we're done. Okay, the big story, guys, the main story that interests us today. And let me just give a shout out to Chris Inslee, Gagnon Alain, Daniel Gould, Zachary Mitchell, Green Thumb from Ottawa, Will 3038, Sheriff of YouTube, Rodney Stuppert, the Resident Evil AMC. By the way, I love Resident Evil. It's my favorite franchise because I played the games when I was young, you know. It'll always stay in my heart. So that's pretty cool. You got that name, bud. But they'll never nail the show. They'll never will. They'll always mess it up. They just haven't played the game. They don't understand it. So it gets dumbed down. Shout out to I said Rodney Stubbard. If I hope I didn't forget you. Freedom Prospector. What's up, buddy? Aggressive Bat 34. What up, pal? Word of the day. Hey, people, giving his word. DJ, what's up, buddy? Anthony Serrano, how you doing, pal? And Yeah, I think I got everybody. Okay, main story, guys. The main story is, do you remember last episode we found out that the Hells Angels were having their annual run? Do you remember that? And the cops, what they do when these Hells Angels have their annual run is basically the Hells Angels and their underling network, the need to do this parade overpowers the need to protect their organization. It's just they have to show everybody that they exist so badly that they're willing to help the cops even if they don't really want to help the cops. But that need is just too strong, man. So what happens is the cops, they're waiting with saliva at them to have these annual runs, and the Hells Angels show up, the biker underlings show up, and the cops show up. The cops wait for them. Now they get to collect tax revenue by harassing them, looking for any excuse, any little thing. You know how it works when you're driving on the road and they have those quotas to fill. But more important than that, they get to have a roster, and they don't even need to prove certain things in court, such as this person's linked to that person, he's friends with the Hells. No, they don't have to. You're already here together on an annual run celebrating in front of the police cameras. They snap pictures, and it's over. In the future, when they'll commit a crime, they'll be able to show these pictures with these people assembling on that day, and they're wearing their vests, and they're wearing the effigies. It's given on a silver platter. But it looks like the Hells Angels also are willing to do that because they want to show their teeth to their enemies and say, look how many we are, look how wealthy we are. We own all these motorcycles. They're freaking expensive. And we're all coming together. We're having these huge parties that you can't afford. We got deep pockets. We're an international organization. We're powerful. And so don't mess with us. But it doesn't stop the messing with them. If you look at when one of their members is still being targeted 2 days in a row at his home. It doesn't seem to really work. They think it's going to work. Won't work. We're the determined foe. But now, I didn't say all that for nothing. Do you remember on that rally the other day, we had pictures of Jean-Phillippe Celestin, a Marauders biker, black guy, maybe the second or third. No, so far from what I know, it's going to be there's 4 of them. I cannot remember. One of them is the leader of the Moors. He's under the pipeline, under the umbrella of the Hells Angels somehow. Then we had the Red Tails. That was and by the way, look at the coincidence in all this. The guy I just told you about, I forgot his name. It's a Caribbean dude. He was a old friend of Gregory Woolley. All right? He's leader of the Moors. He's the guy who went to try to extort the Russian businessman. Then, according to these news stories. And my memory. My memory is wrong, but that's something to do like that. He tried to do it in a friendly way. Offer his services, I think. Then, so we had that guy. And then we found out last article there was the Red Tails. Damn, when I want the names just don't pop. Yes, Sprints Cadet. Sprints Cadet. Other right-hand man of Gregory Woolley. Right there, bud. They have... he's part of the Red Tails. We found this, and he was at this rally the other day, too. Another Gregory Woolley friend guy. Black guy. Then we have... so we were at 2 right now. Frick, I cannot remember. Maybe it was only 3, because I said 4 earlier. So I must have had a reason to say 4. Maybe I just made a mistake by saying 4. But right now, only 3 comes to mind. The third, of course, is Jean-Phillippe Celestin you have right here. Jean-Phillippe Celestin, Marauders, also underling with Gregory Woolley at a certain point. Don't know what happened, but they're all with the Gregory Woolley's enemies. If you think he became enemies with the bikers, then they joined the enemies. Now, Jean-Phillippe Celestin was at that rally, right? Now, guess what? I guess a day or 2 after that, or was it because, yeah, a few days after that at most. Now I'm finding out it's saying the home of Jean-Phillippe Celestin, targeted by cops, the SQ. And I remember this home. This is not the first time. Around I'm not certain when, in around 2020, either 2023 or 2024, we had this picture on an article because they had raided Jean-Phillippe Celestin's home, and at the same time they had raided homes of Hells Angels. So this wouldn't be the first. So now there's an annual run, and a few days later, they're going for it. They're raiding Jean-Philippe's home. So let's see what they're trying to say here. What do we have? So that's him, by the way, if you were wondering, with Gilles Lambert next to him, and 2 other marauders. That's a Hells Angel. The 2 marauders here. What are they giving us? They're saying on Monday morning. Oh, look. Okay, we're getting some good details about this. The home of Jean-Phillippe Celestin was targeted by the SQ Monday morning in link with the death of Marc Issa El Khouri, who was killed in December of 2023 in Laval. So it was in a brutal awakening. They woke him up in the 5 a.m.s. Of course, in the 5 a.m.s. The cops arrived at the 44-year-old man's home. Dang, they don't even ring the door, man. They completely busted the door open. They came in just like that. They didn't give the guy a chance to just cooperate and come out. No, they're gonna break through your door. They're here to punish you, basically. Now they're saying that 4 days before, there was a progress being made in the case of the death of Marc Issa El Khouri. Now I do not remember what this story is about whatsoever. I do not remember whatsoever what that one was about. But apparently 4 days before, there was a new developments in the case, and they arrested. I guess he was not the only one. So 2 young suspects were killed in that case. I believe that probably one of the 2. Okay. Mewil Tesfid Betsu Malak, 20, was arrested in Kitchener, Ontario, I guess. I'm confused here if this is Kitchener or not, but it says arrested by the SQ in Kitchener. I would think that there would be Ontarians arresting him if it wasn't Kitchener. So was that Kitchener? So I don't know if it's Kitchener in Quebec. Is there Kitchener in Quebec? Because the arrest was made by the SQ, but that's up in the air. So the Mewil was arrested in Kitchener, whereas Hamza Hamoud Ali, 23, would be inside of the infamous Donnacona prison, for the murder of El Khouri. And it was premeditated. It was not a spur of the moment thing. And because of that, they're coming in and busting his home right now. Okay, so the SQ are looking for evidence to bonify their case in the murder of Marc Issa El Khouri. No arrests are predicted. So they're just got a warrant to be allowed to go look for more evidence. That's him right there. Now, the victim, Marc Issa El Khouri, was 30 years old when he was killed outside of a reception hall on Saint-Martin-Est in Laval. Now, the murder would have been a reply for the murder of Michael Diabut. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I always call him Shulde. Yes. Okay, everything's linking together. Oh boy. So, man, I didn't want to really go through all that. I'll tell you. There was Hells Angels in Ontario implicated in some form of a gambling ring with Bardella. And remember, just recently we had that leader of a chapter in Ontario. He got killed. He was linked to that gambling ring or whatever. And by the way, Bardella is a Hells Angels from Montreal, and he's been almost killed once at least. And they burned his home once or tried to. Anyhow, there was a guy. One of their friends, Hells Angel, got killed in Ontario. And I do recall that the shooters were at least 3 men from my memory. 3 men. What's very interesting about those 3 men, they're arrested, they're in prison. What's very interesting about this, so the name was familiar, but I wasn't going to remember. He's probably one of the three men. I do recall what one of them was Rolling 90s. Remember West Island Gang? Last year we talked about there was a battle between a cop and Rolling 90s associate, and they were sending bullets to rounds to each other. Do you remember that? And then a kid and his family were coming back from a camping trip. Rolling 90s. There you go. So one of the leaders of the Rolling 90s got arrested for that plot to kill the Hells Angel. He went from Montreal all the way there. And he went there with two other men. I don't remember the second man. I remember his face. I don't remember his picture. But there was a third man. I'm assuming from reading this right now, I guess it was Mark Issa El Khouri. So here you have indications that they want that the three men, their lives are in danger. And for that reason, you have a Mark Issa El Khouri that got killed last year in 2023, so it was a response for that. Why would they go knock at Jean-Phillippe Celestin's home? You know, you can just do the math there. That means that that pretty much tells you if the Hells Angels need to avenge their own, they're going to be sending out orders for these disposables, the street gangs, to do it for them. And who else are they going to call to find somebody? None other than an ex-gang member himself, because he has the network under him, willing to do his bidding call. There you go. And that's what it looks like to me. I don't think you're knocking at his door by chance here, and when they're telling you it's for that case. So and by the way, Rolling 90s member, the guy, the other one, he's in prison. I think he's in a prison in Ontario. But that guy's heavy, man. That guy's heavy. And you could see him in a picture. It looked almost like he was giving orders to Arab Power Leader, by the way. Pictures were following them. Right after Arab Power Leader had just committed a murder, he came back to see his friend from the Rolling 90s. They were walking side by side, and they looked like they were talking about some heavy-ish. The cops grabbed the photo. That photo was a classic. One of them, Arab Power shirtless, and Rolling 90s, one of the leaders right there, right next to him, and they're talking about some heavy-ish right after the murder, and the cops grabbed a picture of them too. It's a small world, you know. If you just look at it in this fashion, you would be able, you'd have to say that the Rolling 90s, Arab Power, it's one side, and then against, on the other side, you'd have to say it's Jean-Phillippe Celestin and the Hells Angels network. And that would be, and then you'd say, but wait, that's not enough. Well, then you find out that Arab Power sent the kid to the bunker in Frampton, and he with the AK-47s. Remember that 15-year-old kid, whatever, who burned himself by accident, who he got killed? The details are so murky, I'm not even sure. But that big explosive news that we had from Montreal, the kid who went to the Quebec bunker and tried to burn it up, and he ended up being dead himself. Remember that? And he found his car burning, and there was AKs in there. Remember that? It's like all like a puzzle fitting perfectly for us who are just reading the newspaper. It's just perfect, you know? So it's got to be, so far, you can't deny this. It's going to be Hells Angels Pipeline with Jean-Phillippe Celestin versus, and then you have the Rolling 90s, Arab Power, and BFM, because there's signs of them working together. It's not even deniable anymore. So that's getting really interesting in the Montreal or Quebec landscape. Okay, so let's continue here. So the offing of Mark Issa in December 2023 would have been a reply for the killing of the Hells Angel Shulde, who was offed in the parking lot of a gym in Mississauga, Ontario in March of 2019. The 32-year-old man was a member of the Hells Angels in Ontario. Okay. Mark Issa El Khouri and two other accomplices, so there were three. Memory's not too bad. And you already told you who one of them are. And two other accomplices were arrested by the police after the murder of the biker in March of 2019. And then in 2023, Mark Issa El Khouri was acquitted for the murder. I remember that now, man. What happened is the three of them went to a hotel. They slept at the hotel, and then they went on that mission. They came back to the hotel. Mark Issa El Khouri is the guy. I believe it's got to be him. Pretty certain it was him. He got away with it in court because he said, they never told me we're going to go kill somebody. I didn't even have an idea. I just went to sort of like a vacation with them over there. And then one day they just woke me up from my nap, and then they told me to get in the car, and I was like half asleep. And they told me where to drive, and they drove me places, and they must have went and killed somebody, and then they came back in the car and I drove. But I didn't have an idea beforehand this was going to occur. So that's what he argued in court, and the court bought it. Looks like the court bought it. So he got out scot-free. And that's how. And in December of 2023, the Hells Angels don't forgive. So then after that, they gave a bunch of orders, because they're not going to do it themselves. They gave a bunch of orders, and the underlings, and he probably went to him, as far as I can tell. And then it went to the new guys to do it. And Marquisa was killed in 2023. It's pretty crazy, man. Célestin, well known by the cops, was the right-hand man of deceased Gregory Woolley, assassinated himself in November of 2023. What a coincidence, huh? Same year. His brother was killed in February of 2024. So they, you got to pay the price. Ordering everyone else to die, it's going to come back somewhere to you. You should ask Gregory Woolley. He thought he was untouchable forever. That guy has the best record. Let's keep going. So this is a picture of the funeral. Well, one of the funerals. Either the funeral of Woolley or a funeral of his brother. I don't know. A couple of months later, in April of 2024, after the death of Gregory Woolley, he joins the Marauder Club, supporters of the Hells Angels. The condo of the mother of Jean-Phillippe Celestin, situated in Plateau Mont-Royal, was targeted by rounds in March 23rd and the 16th of May 2024. We did cover that. I do recall we did cover that. There you have it, man. There you have it. Do you have any more details that I can... There's another article about it. Yeah, they raided his home. This is the same article. So his home is in Rosemère. I think that's the north end, like beyond Laval, or it's the north end neighborhood of Laval. I'm not too sure. I can't recall. I always mix them up. All right, yeah, they're just giving us the same rundown that we just had. Yeah. Yep, that's it. So yeah, there's definitely something. He's definitely, he's the man of the hour, He's the man of the hour right now. He's the one who's taking the brunt of it for the Hells Angels in Montreal. So his mom's place got shot up twice. His brother got killed. And he's being raided for the second time by the cops. You hardly hear about the Hells Angels getting raided that much, or being targeted that much, in Montreal, that is. But you got the Quebec one. He's being targeted right now, and they believe it's from maybe the BFM. Who else, man? Come on. Who else? All right. Gonna cut this video right here, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Shout out to Chris Inslee, Gagnon Alain, Zachary Mitchell, Daniel Gould, Green Thumb, Willie 3038, Wes Dozer, I always forget, Man in the Middle, Max the Youth, Mountain Woman, Rodney Stubbert, The Resident Evil AMC, Swan Man. Some of them is off the top of my head that I can remember. Did I say Rodney Stubbert? Freedom Prospector, Aggressive Bat, Word of the Day, DJ, Anthony Serrano, Marcel Mathers, almost forgot, bud. And, Richard Goodridge. Richard Goodridge. Oh, sorry, that's not your name, is it? But yeah, that's the guy I was trying to remember. You got it, pal. For a moment, I thought it was your username. You don't have one. It's such a strange one. It doesn't pop. But yeah, it was Richard Goodridge. Exactly, man. I remember earlier I said I couldn't remember the name of black bikers, and there was one of them, the Moors. The name was Richard Goodridge. And who else are we at? And some of you, there's no names appearing. It's the weirdest thing. I've never seen this. No usernames. I guess it's a bug. Oh, is it You Can't Handle the Truth? That's your nickname. Got it. Yeah, it almost didn't, because it's the same color. Usually, I got it now. It's my bad. trying to see if I missed any others. And the Dot Boy Didi. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. And don't forget, if you can, simple, click like for me. Simple as that, man. Thanks a lot, pal. Have a great night, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Yup, yeah. Freedom Prospector, the head in the toilet bowl. I got dinged really bad, man. YouTube sent me a threatening email and telling me don't ever do that again. Zero tolerance, etc. And, I'm such an idiot. I tried to, if I remember, I tried to appeal it. I'm an idiot. I think I tried to appeal that one. Why did I try, man? Yeah, it's like, I'm not promoting it. I'm just trying to report on the news. What's the point if you can't show it? All right, man. Have a good evening, guys. Thank you. Oh, Jeremy Gilbert also. Shout out to Jeremy Gilbert. Thank you. I appreciate you, pal. Oh, and shout out to Mr. Pereira, the biggest balls in Montreal City. You too, pal.